Recording in progress.
You can begin, sir.
Okay, I'll just play a short video of Krishji on understanding problems and the art of giving. Just give me a moment. You're able to see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Before we go into these questions, we ought to talk over together. If we can ask a question from a state of mind or brain that is holistic, that sees, comprehends, or perception of the whole human problem, not just one particular problem, but all problems are related to each other. There is no one separate problem disassociated from the others. If that is so, then to ask a question or to face a problem from an integrated outlook. You understand? Most of us are fragmented, broken up. Business, religious, family life, sexual life, religious life, and so on, so on. We're all not a holistic, whole human beings, which is a fact. We look at life from a particular point of view, from a conclusion, or from some idealistic concepts. These are all fragmented outlook on life, right? We are talking things over together. And can we ask or face a problem from a wholly different outlook, which is not fragmented at all? You understand? Are we meeting each other? This? We just thought of it as we came across the lawn here. Whether we ask any question or face any problem holistically, I hope you don't mind using that word, though one has a so-called scientific word, but we can, I hope the scientists will forgive us if we use that word. From a point of total integration, integrity, and ask questions. It's rather interesting to go into it. is it possible, recognizing that we are fragmented, broken up, divided in ourselves, contradictory, opposing one desire against another desire, and so on, knowing all that, being aware of all that, could we face a problem which is from a different focus? Why do we have problems? We've got so many problems: political, religious, sexual, and so on. We have multiple problems in life. And problems are increasing in a society that is so sophisticated, so complex. Overpopulation, bad governments, and so on. And in the resolution of one problem, we seem to increase other problems, many other problems, right? Why? In answering this question, that's going to raise the answer is going to awaken similar problems. Why do we have problems? And is it possible to meet a problem without a brain that is already conditioned to solve problems? Huh? You don't understand. Neither do I for the moment. So let's look at it. We go to school very young, almost 5 or 7 and so on, and children are faced with a problem, mathematical problem, how to write, how to read, how to learn mathematics, it becomes a problem. So from childhood, our brain is conditioned to solving problems, right? This is a fact. It's not some fantastic theory of the speaker. So one goes to college, there are again problems. And university, jobs, various functions, vocations, and so on. Problem after problem. Our brain is full of problems, right? And we're always seeking from a brain that is conditioned to solve problems. We're always seeking a solution to problems, right? Is this clear? We are together. Now, how can the brain solve problems if it is not free from problems? Right? Are we together a bit in this? Rather interesting question this. Please let's go into this. Our brains are conditioned to the resolution of problems, solution of problems from childhood. And as the brain is conditioned to solve problems, it's always seeking a solution. And it's not understanding the problem itself, but the solution of the problem, right? Are we together a little bit in this? Yes? Good. And is it possible not to have a brain, to have a brain that is not conditioned to problems. You understand my question? I'm asking you, sirs and ladies, your brain is conditioned now to the solution of problems. And we have never solved the problem. They're increasing more and more and more. Why? Is it because a conditioned brain, which is embedded in problems, can never solve problems? Right? You understand? Have I put the question? Oh, come on. Is it possible to have a brain that is not conditioned to the solution of problems, but to the understanding of problems? Isn't there a difference between the solution of problems and the understanding of the problem? In the understanding of the problem, the solution may lie in the problem, not away from the problem. Right? Take a very ordinary example. We have never stopped wars. Human beings on this earth, since they have come on this earth, have had wars. And we have never solved the problem of war. But we try to reorganize how to kill man better. And this reorganization, how to kill man better, is called progress. You know, if you're following on, this is not a joke. So we move from organization to organization. We had first the League of Nations, and now we have the United Nations. But wars go on. They have different organizations. You know? So we move from one organization to another, hoping thereby to solve problems and multiply problems. So we never stop wars. And the cause of war is nationalism, economic division, local division, and so on, so on, so on. Division, linguistic, racial, religious, economic, cultural, and so on. These divide man. We're all human beings. We all suffer. We all have pain and anxiety, and boredom, loneliness, despair. We don't tackle that. But we want to solve the problems that seems to have an external causes. Right? So we are asking, can the brain, recognizing, seeing that it is conditioned to the solution of problems from childhood, be free of it, and then face problems? Right? Right, sir? Will you do it? That is the question. To be conscious, to be aware that our brain, that we as human beings, from the beginning of life, we're always struggling with problems and trying to find the right answer to them. The right answer can only be when we recognize the brain is conditioned, and as long as that brain is conditioned to solving problems, we will never find the right answer. Clear? So, do I recognize that fact? Not the idea, but the fact. There's a difference between idea and the fact, right? I hear this statement, and from that statement, I draw a conclusion. Quite right, this is so. And from that statement, I abstract an idea and then pursue the idea. Not the fact that my brain is conditioned to solve problems. That's the fact. Not that I should be free of this conditioning. That's not fact. I understand. So, the brain is conditioned. And as long as the condition exists, multiplications of problems will go on, reorganization of the problems will go on, and changing from one capitalist society to totalitarian society or this or that will always bring about enormous problems, right? Can you and I be free of the brain that is conditioned? That is to be aware of it and see the depth of it, the truth of it, the logic, the sanity, the reason of it, and not move away from it. Not find some abstract explanations. Is this all right? I'm asking if it's all right. Perhaps it's all wrong. No, it's not all wrong. This is a fact. If one cannot get on with one's wife, quarrels, contention, all the rest of it, and one divorces, then go to choose another person and keep on repeating this, right? If one has the money and if one has plenty of time and energy, this is the game that's going on in the world on a small or a bigger scale. But the problem is not divorce or on all the complications of relationship, but to understand the depth of relationship, the meaning of relationship. The relationship, as we pointed out, is one of the most important things in life. Not the emotional expressions of it, the tantrums, the neuroticism of relationship, but what is important, significant, depth in relationship. And we never ask that question. We want to solve the problem of relationship, you understand? And so we never solve them. Psychiatrists, psychotherapists, and so on, are multiplying in the world like mushrooms. And They're not solving problems. They're not solving the depth of all this. So we should consider together, what is the art of living? You understand? Oh, come on, sir. It's a nice morning. That's right. Lady is saying if we have a system, a pattern of solving a problem, then the system is operating, not the understanding and the depth of the problem. The same thing. We were talking about the art of living. Sorry, these are the questions, but there it is. You don't mind? We'll come to that. There are many of them, so we've chosen 6 of them. That'll be enough for this morning. But we're asking, what's the art of living? We have the art of poetry, painting, the art of so many, art of cooking, especially now, and so on. But we never asked ourselves, perhaps which is the greatest art, what is the art of living? Is there an art? Or is it all the chance? Or is it all some genes, a biological chances and so on? What is the true art of living? Are you waiting for me to answer it? If one answers it, don't make a problem of it. Then the art is thrown out of the window. So let's look at it together to find out what is the art of living. Art in the widest and the depth of that word, not just all the contents of a museum. If you were asked that question, what's the art of living? What would be your answer? Not calculated answer, personal answer, or emotional romantic answer, which are meaningless, right? If I answer that question emotionally, oh, it is the most, art of living is the highest aspiration, which is sheer nonsense. Art of living is the most exalted intellectual activity, right? That's only very powerful. Or art of living is to have a holistic outlook on life. Sounds excellent. But factually, it isn't. So what is the art of living? Obviously, no conflict whatsoever. Right? A brain that is in conflict all the time, having problems all the time. This tremendous self-concern. Such a brain must inevitably be limited, right? If one is thinking about oneself, how to meditate, whether you can, all the rest of it. Your very meditation is self-centeredness. So, the art of living, it appears, you can add to it more. To live without conflict. Is that possible at all? That is to understand the opposing elements in one's life. Right? Desiring one thing, opposed to that desire another thing. You know, this corridor of dualities. And this self-centeredness. As long as that self-centeredness exists, there must be conflict. Because self-centeredness is limited, small, petty. But you listen to all this, but carry on. Right? And you say that's not possible in modern society to live without self-centeredness, at least a little bit of it. Have you ever tried? Have you ever lived without self-centeredness for one day? Not to think about oneself. Just even for an hour. And see what happens. You haven't committed to anything. You can go back to your self-centeredness. Nobody's going to say how wrong it is or right it is. That's the normal state of human beings, apparently. So if one really tries for an hour, actually do it, not try it, do it and see what happens. And if you do it 1 hour, you can extend it. And you don't, it gives you tremendous energy. It gives you great sense of passion, not lust and all the business, but passion to pursue something profoundly to the very end of things. Right. Is that enough for this? That will come back.
Yes, Harshad bhai, please.
Yeah. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes.
Thank you, Dubey ji. I hear Krishna ji is asking questions from the holistic view. So this is a kind of a paradoxical question, it seems to me, because if one has the holistic view, one can see clearly. It means that there are no problems, and if a problem arises, one becomes aware of it, and that seeing of the coming of the problem is the understanding and the solution of the problem. So what I After all, what Krishna ji is saying, that freedom is at the beginning. That means, how do we approach a problem if we are confused, and then with that confusion, we try to solve a problem, we create more problems. And that is what generally happening in the world, that people are confused and then they go to a guru or a psychologist or a priest or an astrologer and like that, and very anxious to solve the problem. But Krishna ji says that the solution of the problem is not so much important, but understanding, or I would say, not even understanding, but seeing the problem clearly. So, our difficulty is that we are not able to see clearly whatever is happening within our mind, how our thoughts and feelings are arising. So finally, it comes to the fundamental uh, teaching of Krishnamurti is about awareness, choiceless awareness. If we are not aware of how the problems are arising, then it will create lots of conflict, anger, jealousy, and all that. And it is one can also explain it like, if you, when you are driving a car and you lose awareness even for 1 or 2 seconds on the highway, there could be accident. So similarly, in the psychological sense also, that problems arise when we are not aware of what is happening within us. And that is the real problem of all human beings, that we are not passionate to look clearly, inwardly, what is happening, not only when the problem is arising, but even when there is no problem. Are we interested in looking at what is happening? So this seems to be the real art, the greatest art of living, what Krishna ji calls, is to be in touch with our thoughts and feelings without effort, without motive. And that is the real difficulty I feel. And that's why the problems are multiplying in human relationships. Okay, I finished. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Harshad.
Mm.
I think we are, we grow, as Krishji mentioned, and people who are able to solve problems or look up as somebody who is clever, who is very intelligent in getting over certain issues. So from childhood, we feel that solving a problem is very, very important, and we acquire skills, develop intellect to that level. But I think, and that's why it becomes so difficult to stay with a problem, because the staying perhaps will come to a point where we are able to see the causes, and perhaps, as Krishna mentioned, and it's also true in our life, that the solution doesn't lie outside the problem, but within the problem itself. So I think uh, one has to develop that intelligence to see the problem without the effort to get a solution, rather than stay and look at it. This is what I wanted to say. Yeah. Pradeep ji, you want to say something? Please unmute yourself. Unmute. 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 Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
it's okay now. Yeah.
Harshad Bhai has already clarified most of the things. What are the requirements? What are the requirements to be free right in the beginning? Holistic. He has been using this word frequently, holism, holistic. Holistic itself means that your self-centered, so-called self-centered, is not very strong. It has a lot of space around. That's why. Then only you can be holistic in approach, or seeing or listening, anything. So in the last years, it's a very revolutionary this thing. Revelation, it you can say, can you be without self-centered for 1 hour? And one can feel the energy, one can actually feel the energy by going to that stage where it is without self-center. Entire energy is available even while listening to him. So that last sentence was something fantastic. The person who has realized you are the world shows that also holistic, unless until you are holistic in your seeing and listening, everything, there is no chance to see reality as such in you or outside you, so-called outside. So he starts with that only to have a brain which is not conditioned. We are all conditioned differently in time and space, but although they appear to be different, but they are highly related to each one of us. The same problems in different contexts, in different time scale. They appear to man, but they're all the same problems. That's why he has been emphasizing on this special point. Then, so the entire onus is on me. There is nobody else. The entire onus is me about seeing my problems. The better I see, the better I'm out of that problem, because this was talked about in so many ways about when Buddha talked about it in Vipassana, seeing specifically, seeing yourself deeply enough to see your entire psychosomatic structure, including my thoughts coming and going, the sensitivity to see whether the sensations that are happening, whether they are permanent or not, but whether my problem is permanent. All those things, you have to be very, very sensitive towards my structure, which is highly psychosomatic and very deeply interrelated. You can't separate it. The moment body gets something, the mind is associated simultaneously. You get something out of that. So we have to see, this is insight comes to us only because all the problems don't come to us in a one shot. Each person gets it differently. And then can we see that impermanence of our problems, they come and go. So like that, we have to see the problem as deeply as possible. I have to see my problem as deeply as possible without any interpretation from my side. Then only it is possible to see things as they are in me. Something like this is what is called as awareness, naturally without choices and all that. So if we live like this, if we live like this, then automatically art of living, this will automatically bring peace to us in most of the conditions we undergo. It is possible, definitely, it is definitely possible to attain that state when even problems flow like that. You can see problems coming and going. So this is a possibility, but this is all conditional in the sense, if you have without conditions, if you are without any conditioning, this itself, that is the first impasse. That is the first thing we all feel in our daily life. Whether I am without any self-interest right now and undergoing what? Living what? Living in what way? Without a specific interest of mine. So I think life will tell all the secrets, and it's a fact. And that's why what last man he said, without self-centeredness, if you can live for even 1 hour, it means that self-centeredness is the problem that creates conflict. In any situation, it is something like that sucks your energy. That sucks your energy, and one can feel it. What is sucking my energy? Why the flow is obstructed? So this is a possibility, and it's a great message in this video, and we all can be benefited greatly, all of us. So right now we can feel what it is to be without self-center. Thank you, friends. Thank you very much. This is all what I wanted to say.
Thank you, Varun sir. I entirely agree with Pradeep ji, but I just want to add 2 points. When we talk of seeing and looking at our problems, I think one shouldn't start with the intention of solving the problem, because then the desire issues come into picture. But can we just see the problem as it is? And the second point I want to make is, I don't know of a stage where we are completely free of the conditionings. It could be purely theoretical as far as I'm concerned, but you take any one conditioning and just look at it without any evaluation or measurement, whether it's good or bad or whatever. And I can assure you with my personal experience that the hold of that conditioning becomes very, very loose. So I think seeing the conditioning is the beginning of freedom. This is what I wanted to add. Thank you. Yes, Dinesh ji, unmute yourself.
Are you able to hear me, sir?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let us, I would also like to express my views. And it is better to start with the JK, what JK has to say. What is the essence of JK's today's talk? JK asks us, can you ask a question from a state of mind or brain which is holistic? Means perception of whole human problems, as all the problems are related with each other. So here he is trying to convey a message that can you see the total problems of the human as one and not from your particular angles. This means ask question or face a problem from an integrated outlook. Most of us are fragmented, which is a fact. We look at life from a particular point of view, from a conclusion, from some idealistic concept. Can we be aware of this? Means, is it possible to meet a problem without a brain that is already conditioned to solve a problem? We always seek solution to a problem. Now, how a brain can solve a problem if it is not free from the problem? This is a very tricky statement he has given. So, brain is always seeking a solution and not understanding a problem itself. In understanding a problem, the solution is in the problem itself, not away from the problem. This also means the conditioned brain sees the problem to have an external causation. Can we be aware and free of this and face a problem? Can we see this fact not as an idea, see the depth of it, truth of it, the logic and the sanity of it, reason of it, and not move away from it? Means to remain with it, not find some abstract explanation of it. Here my views are, how do we know that any issue is a problem? Definitely, we analyze it, study it, knowing it, understand it, and say this is a problem. So here, what JK is trying to say and his meaning of understanding a problem. Clearly, our understanding is intellectual and his meaning of understanding is different. On the last Thursday, we have talked enough about JK's meaning of understanding, which is to see a fact totally and then have an insight into it. See the truth of it, which will initiate an action. Now, it automatically means you should be clear, means your mind should have freedom from conditioning. One should be through with self-knowing. One's ego should be diluted, and then only you can have insight and see the truth of a fact. So this is not one has to work on him, and unless his mind is purified. So either his mind should attain a state of silence and then can have an insight, or he should have that much clarity with honesty, passion and all that, so that he can have insight. Unless he is having insight, he cannot have the solution as far as the JK's meaning is concerned. That's what my views are. Similarly, what is art of living? He says art of living is to live without conflict. That means understand the opposing elements in life, consider corridor of duality and the self-centeredness. In case of art of living without conflict also, we have discussed in the past that technical conflicts will be there, or the proportional conflicts will be there, because of you have to take a decision in the technical fields, or the issues you have to tackle in the technical fields, etc. But one can be free from the psychological conflicts. This also we have defined enough when we discussed earlier. But for this also, one has to understand in depth the structure of duality, as said by JK. So which is again an arduous task. And in my views, yes, a person can, or an individual or some persons can do this and can have that clarity, and they can live with without conflict. But all the people will, is it possible for all the people? I'm having my own doubts. Thank you. I want to submit this much only on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Verma sir. Unmute yourself. Yes.
Although I cannot talk about others and Krishnamurti, what he meant, because right now there is no problem, each one of us, and we are having only ideas about problems and their either solutions or how to know your problems. What is a problem to me? It is some sort of reaction. Some sort of reaction. I am reacting to something. And what is in me that feels that reaction is the self, definitely. And naturally, whatever has been told about desires, some sort of desire, whether of attaining this or that, or getting this or that or that. So ultimately, that reaction, it comes as a reaction to me. How it comes to different people has to be different because their desires are different, their plannings, their agendas are different, their plannings are different. So bound to be. I cannot talk about them, what they do, how JK solved or could not solve. But I can see that problem is when you react, and what reacts is myself. So it is that simple to know. And what problem is, if I'm not getting that, I'm used to a particular tea, I'm not getting Darjeeling tea today. So naturally, immediately, it should not be a difficulty to understand that because of this, and who is suffering? I am suffering, me. So I am totally involved. There is no one else to blame. So then itself brings it dilution of the problem, that look, it is you, it is me. In most of the cases, you will find what is your outlook of the world. And the more self-centered you are, the more problematic your life has to be. It is that simple. Thank you very much. Harshad bhai.
Yes, Harshad bhai, please.
Yeah, yes. I think the general condition, what I have seen, even in myself, before reading Krishnamurti, that our mind goes round and round in thinking, and we are even not aware of what is going on. And either it is thinking about the past or going into the future, what we are going to do. And sometimes I give that example of a rat trying to catch its own tail and going round and round. So I was also like that before I read the first book of Krishnamurti. And only when Krishnamurti talked about conditioning, nationalistic conditioning, religious conditioning, then I begin to reflect on what he said. And I said, yes, I was in a different culture and I was thinking of myself as a Indian or a Hindu. So this conditioning were there, but I was not aware. And then when I became aware, and when Krishnaji said that we are human beings, and what is happening to you, the same thing is happening psychologically to all human beings, whether they are Americans or Chinese or any country or religion, same thing is going on. And so that made me, when I read that we are human beings and we are very, very similar psychologically, and that really touched me. And then I begin to observe. And I found that even Americans in their own country, they were very unhappy, no relationship in the family, many, many problems, loneliness, and all that. So only when something touches us deeply, something deeper than thinking and feeling, what Krishnamurti would call seeing non-verbally, clearly, not intellectually. Intellectually, many people will say, yes, we are conditioned, but don't feel it. And I have seen even many highly intellectual people, how they have a dialogue on television. They are not listening to other people. They just want to push their idea. They don't know that they are conditioned. And they are highly intellectual people, well paid. So as long as we don't be silent, away from thinking and feeling, and can see directly what is happening within us, that requires some kind of space, silence, inward looking. And that quality, when it comes, then we even don't need to read Krishnamurti much, because what Krishnamurti is saying is exactly what is happening within all human beings. So when we are able to see within ourselves what is happening, we can understand other human beings also. And so that psychological understanding is lacking in human beings, though they understand national problems of the outside science problem and politics, and they people are giving so much importance to solving social problems or political problem or economic problem, but the root of all problems is in the psychological problem, and that has created all this problem of violence or corruption and all that. So Krishnaji's teachings are mostly about understanding ourselves as we are without trying to change it. And when we are able to see exactly what is happening, some kind of transformation happens, and some kind of insight real comes. And Dinesh ji talks very much about we should this and should. There is no such thing in Krishnamurti's teachings about we should be doing this or that. He says, look only. And if you can look directly at first inside yourself, and then when you are able to look clearly at what is happening within, you can also then look clearly at a tree or a human being or whatever happening in the world without words, without uh, thinking and feeling. One can look, and that look is the real understanding. Non-verbal seeing is the real understanding. Okay, I have finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshad Bhai. Harshad Bhai, in the Rajghat school, when Krishna used to talk to students, he'll always say that look outside first before you go, because it's easy to see outside, and
Yeah.
if you're able to see things outside without any evaluation, then it will become easier for you to get inside. Yes, Dinesh ji.
Beginnings of learning.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Are you able to hear me, sir?
yes.
Yeah.
In the reference to Mr. Pradeep's talk and Harshad sir's statements, I would like to say that what stops a man from looking clearly?
That's
Why
a very
can't
good
everybody?
question. That's a very good
Why everybody cannot see clearly?
That's a very
Definitely,
good question. Let's examine that. It's a very good question.
yes, yes. So, because his mind, as far as my views are concerned, his mind is not clear. And why his mind is not clear? Because he has not worked on it, that mind. And the basis of this is ignorance.
Yeah.
So, what, in my views, what JK trying to say is, you are looking for problems which are having causation outside. But basically, these, if you see from the totality point of view, then these problems are emerge because in you there is a problem of ego. You have ambition, you have competition, you have greed, and you have fears and all that, and that's why you are that's why you are involved in gratification of ego and all that. So you every problem becomes a personal problem. Not that your views are not from the totalitarian point of view. So everybody can't see clearly right now. This is the fact, as far as I am concerned. So how to why I use the word should? First, one has to go through this and he has to work on this. Then only he can have clear seeing. That's what I think. Even Harshad sir, after so many years, now they got clarity. That's what my views are. That he can see the things clearly. So I think JK says that there should not be any time involved in it. But I think in the duality, the time is a very important factor. Thank you.
I think time is a lot in preparation.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, Verma ji.
Yes, interesting question by Dinesh ji. He is talking about why he is not getting free. He is not getting free. Why they are not getting free? Why everybody is not getting free? Am I getting free? The good question is, am I getting free? The confidence which I get through me is the best, and that reflects your entire thinking. That reflects your entire thinking. We can't go on talking about some imaginary thing that why he is not getting or that is not getting, but he got it and he was enlightened. And these are all ideas based on some readings or some, but you can straight away get this answer whether I am getting free. So simple it is, whether I am getting free. So simple it is. We can go on discussing years together. As long as we are discussing about so-called others, we will not get anything. I will not get anything. All are there in me. That is known only when I work on me. You see? So everybody, all of us can be free, which this feeling will come to you through you only or through me only. I can tell with confidence, it is not difficult. It is not at all difficult. You can enjoy right now your factor of time and all those things, psychological, logical, all this has no meaning to me, because whether I am free. Why I keep on discussing on JK's philosophy or Gurdjieff's philosophy, anybody's philosophy, have I become free by discussing n number of seers? If not, then who is to be blamed? Me only. I am totally responsible for whatever is happening. This is what I feel. Thank you very much, friends.
Thank you, Verma sir. I think what you're saying is absolutely right, but Dinesh made a very important point. He said, what blocks seeing? What blocks any one of us seeing that thing? And he mentioned those things. They are very valid points. So I think it only his statement, but I think all of us suffer from those points. Because, our self becomes important and so on. So I don't want to repeat that, but I think the issues that block that seeing things as they are, those are the causes. Yes, Harshad bhai.
Yes. Before reading Krishna ji, I was looking at the tree, I was looking at the lake, but my mind was somewhere else. But only when I begin to look at my own thoughts, looking at clearly what was happening, then some changes begin to happen in my body, my brain. I could feel. And then there was a different way of looking at the tree, at the lake, and the birds. Everything became so fully alive. But it wasn't like that before I read Krishnamurti, because the mind was just going into thinking and feeling, but the mind was not silent. So Krishnaji is asking that question, how do you look at a tree? By that, what he is trying to say, that there is a different way of looking at a tree or the face of your friend or a husband or wife. It is a fresh looking. And that, I think, people don't get. Even some student, they said that they try to look at a tree without thinking, but they could not do it because the mind has not become silent. Only when there is real space, then everything looks different. And so there is a different way of looking, not just looking at the lizard, what Krishnaji is talking, telling the student, but how does one look, from what state of the mind one is looking? That is very important. Okay, that is what. And I say the time is involved in finding the right expression to communicate with others. And even Krishnaji was learning how to express his thoughts. In that, the chronological time is necessary, but seeing something, it happens in a flash. When you read something, not thinking about it, but just feel that there is something underneath the word. The word is not the thing. So there is something under the word of Krishnamurti, and then you become curious. Then some changes and begin to look inward. Then some changes begin to happen. That is what I feel. That understanding or seeing it doesn't involve much time. It doesn't involve so much thinking, analysis. And Krishnaji also says analysis is like a paralysis. And we can gather a lot of information, knowledge about Krishnamurti's teachings. But even then, it will not, what Krishnaji said, how do you look? That question will not become real to us. You know. Okay, I finish. Yeah.
Thank you, Harshad Bhai. I think Harshad Bhai in Rajghat, while talking to students, Krishnaji suddenly he'll stop and say, "Have you looked at the flower there? Have you seen the shadow of Act 3 in the morning and now?" So he wants to bring the focus on seeing. And the idea is once you get interested in looking at a tree, at different period of the day, you develop an interest in nature. So the idea is that once you start seeing nature the way it is without any, evaluation that's good or bad or it's a big tree or a small tree, then you develop a interest in seeing things and then perhaps you can go inside. So I think it's important that we start from outside and look at things as they are without naming them or doing whatever. And it's easier for children to do that because they are relatively less conditioned. At least their ideas are not crystallized the way they are for us. Yes, Verma sir, please unmute yourself.
Well, again, this point came to me. I again reiterate and emphasize on my earlier point that if I can see myself, seeing includes all the senses to put together, seeing and even listening to my memories, my recalling, everything right now, moment to moment. If I can see myself properly, then I will know why my neighbor is also not there. Yes. You see, if I know myself properly, then this is not a question, because you will know that you are there also suffering under the similar conditions. So there is no point in talking that everybody can understand. This talking about so-called others is mostly imagination, wishful thinking, all those things, my likings. So the best thing is to be with yourself moment to moment. It will tell everything whether the others are getting or not. How I could get so many persons, I can be very confident they got a lot of it through JK. Listening to him, being with him. So it is not because simply thinking why my neighbor is not getting that is absolutely of no value to me. It is only me, through me and me, how deep I am able to see, including all my so-called conflicts, problems, everything, my relations within family, outside family, everything, my relation to nature, everything. It tells you, it tells you all the secrets. Then these questions won't be there. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I think Krishna used to say that to reach far, you have to start from near.
Yeah,
And-
yeah.
And the person nearest to me is myself. So I have to start
Right.
from myself. Rightly said. We have Mr. Adeen, if I'm properly pronouncing his name, please. If
Yeah,
possible, put on the video so that we can see you, sir, and then say, yeah.
yeah. So this is something which also in the last meeting, uh, something which touched me and I had brought up. So to me, it seems like this awareness is like a mirror. So, so in that mirror, we see both the observer as well as the observed. Both are the same in that mirror, and both is a conditioning, this conditioned entity. Both is thought. So, but the mirror itself is doesn't seem to be made of thought. So, yeah, it's probably this silent awareness which is not made of thought, but which allows us to look at ourselves in that space which is not thought. But it is very tricky, I feel, and that's why I don't know how much you know intellect or discussing or asking how much it can directly help. Perhaps as someone said, like looking outside in nature, because nature doesn't have any opinion, so it doesn't tell you what to do, what to not do, what to think. So it's much easier to look at a tree, but it's not the same if you have someone you are discussing with and this person has a very strong opinions. It's not the same feeling. uh, so yeah, it seems to be quite tricky, because then how do you approach this? Something which is not made of thought, this mirror, but which reflects you in yourself. And after some time, it seems like when we are looking at ourselves, also we realize the futility of the self. And yeah, because when my thoughts are occurring in my mind, I'm unable to hear you, what you want to convey. There is a lack of sensitivity. So in that mirror also, somehow we see ourselves and we realize the futility of ourselves. And then there is probably a silence in which there is no observer and observed, and there's just the mirror or the awareness, and I can directly listen to what you have to say. Yeah, but for me, it's difficult to do if the other person is very opinionated. So suppose I don't know. See, for example, there are so many wars happening, but most of the time you discuss with other people, they will be taking one side, right? They will say that this person is right, this country is right, the other country is wrong. This country is on our country's side, so we should support it. That's all they will be talking about. So how do you listen to such a person? I mean, they are themselves divided. They want you to, they want to convince you either to take one side or the other. If you take their side, they're happy. If you take the other side, they feel, I don't know, because their mind is divided. So how do you meet the divisions of the world, which is outside in relationship? Or we cannot have any connection with that. Yeah, that is my question. Yeah, thank you.
Sir, I don't have an answer to your question, but I'll answer first and then I'll request Harshad Bhai to also say something on this. I think, can we listen to somebody irrespective of the view he's holding? It could be entirely opposite to my view, or it could be my view. But I'm able to see my view as well as his point of view without agreeing or disagreeing. I think that is very, very important, because the moment I feel that, this is my view and he's having a different view altogether, then he goes to the opposite camp. but am I able to just listen to him the way he is speaking? That is an art of listening. And Krishna, in his talks, in his teachings, have given tremendous importance to listening.
Listening, yeah.
Listen, just listen without forming an opinion. Because the moment you bring your own memory, your own experience, and judge that person, it's bound to be conflict. And that is what is happening in our daily life. Not only persons, but between two states, two countries. That is the way we are living. Yes, Harshad Bhai, you can add to this.
Yeah, at one time somebody asked a question to Krishnaji from the audience, "Sir, are you crazy?" And Krishnaji listened to it and then said, "Are you asking whether the speaker is crazy? Let us discuss what is craziness. Is society really sane?" So did not react. Krishnaji did not react. So people who are very clear within themselves, they don't have that sense of strong views, that sense of ego. They can listen and then they find out whether what the other person is saying is true or false. Because to understand someone telling something which is true or false, one needs a non-verbal kind of clarity. And one can discuss, slow down the process where the other person will also slow down if we slow down and we tell, let us discuss it properly. Not like the way they are doing it on television, where they are not stopping even when they are asked to stop, that they are not able to stop their talking and they are not able to listen also. So it is a very, very highly conditioned dialogue which happens. But when we are clear and even the other person may not be clear, we can listen. I think if we are listening without reacting, and so that kind of listening, the art of listening, which Krishnaji was talking about, and one man was abusing Buddha a lot, and Buddha listened for a long time. And then Buddha said, if you are giving a present to somebody and the somebody doesn't take that present, where does it go? So say it goes back to the person who gave it. So Buddha said, you take this present you are giving me, abuses. So I think only when there is a clarity and silence and affection maybe, then it is possible to listen even to somebody saying something very unpleasant to you, can listen. But without that, there will be immediate reaction will come, and then there will be a fight, and that is what is generally happens in human beings, that they continue fighting with their own ideas and opinions. So listening is an art which very important art, but that can happen only when our mind is not chattering while listening. And
You have unmuted
But
yourself.
is
Unmuted. I will just add one point to what Harshad said just now. I think it's also very important that the view I hold must be held very tentatively, because if I have a very strong view about something, then I can't listen to somebody. You yourself said that if I'm thinking, if my memory is flooded with thoughts and I have to listen to somebody, then the listening can't take place. So it's very important that I have a very tentative view about what I'm talking about. I doubt, but I don't hold it very firmly so that I can't listen. I can't listen to another one. Yes, you wanted to say something.
yeah. So mm, no, but uh, if someone cannot see a very basic thing, like it's wrong to kill another person, something as basic as that person is not seeing, I mean, what is the relationship I can have? In the sense, you don't see. Uh, so something as basic as that. I mean, even if that person cannot see and is justifying all that, and you are talking to this person, uh, I mean, is it possible that there be a meeting of minds in such a case? I mean, you see the illusion of something, illusion of a particular opinion, because I mean, that's so basic, and the other person is justifying it. I mean, where does the dialogue start in such a situation?
Sir, my answer to this will be with this story. First of all, we are not social reformers. So you and I, we are not here to reform somebody and change his way of life. We can only talk about ourselves. I will continue to be a vegetarian, irrespective of his view. But I don't judge him that being non-vegetarian is bad or killing is bad. But I have my view, and at times when he is calmer, I'll explain to things to him that this is the way I want to live. I'll tell you a story. There was a boy in Rajghat who would not get up in the morning. So the teacher would go and ask him to get up at 5:30 for the morning walk and physical fitness and so on, and he would not get up. So he continued to do that every day. He got so tired that history was there in Rajghat, and he went to him. He said, "Sir, how can I change him? Every morning I go and ask him to wake up, and I've been doing it for 6 months and it doesn't change." He said, "Sir, which class he is in?" He said he's in class 9th. He said, "Can you do that for 3 more years and let him go? Let's see what changes are brought about." So your aim is not to change him. Your aim is to do what is right for you. Continue to do that. And don't worry about what changes are brought about in him and so on. I know it's easier said than done, but that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, may I say something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, when I was in Canada, I was sharing an apartment with a Punjabi person, and he enjoyed eating meat. And I was also eating, but I never enjoyed. And when I went to listen to Krishnaji in 1979, and then Krishnaji did not talk about not eating meat, but I felt that I cannot eat meat. And then I said, no, let me go to the shop, restaurant where I was eating meat. But that restaurant was closed on that day, and I ate fruits, and I felt very happy. And when I came back to Canada, and my friend, Punjabi friend, he asked me, "Why did you stop eating meat?" And I said, "I don't know, but I feel that I can't eat meat." And I did not give him any answer. Then he started reading many books, and then he came to the same conclusion after reading many books that eating meat is not good. So, without telling him anything, he did change, and that was a very coincidence. I think not all people change like that. Right.
Yeah. Dinesh ji, we have just 1 minute. If you want to say a closing statement, we can do that.
I think whatever I wanted to say, 1 minute will not be sufficient. But I would like to say one thing only, that Mr. Adeen's question, or what Harshad Parekh sir has said, one has to understand the energy phenomena which is behind this. And unless he understands the energy phenomena, he cannot through with all these things. What is energy phenomena basically? When one wants to see the tree, he can see a number of times a tree. Once he may see with a image. One time he may see with the greed. One time he may see with the anxiety. One time he may see with the greed, or any malintentions and all that. So what is the accompanying that means seeing? That one has to see. What is involved with the seeing? And can one see it with a clean slate of mind? That's what the question of JK. That's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we have
Dubey
come to the close of the session.
Dubey sir, you have to declare the lecture of 10th of
Okay.
Siddharth Menon, please.
So on 10th March, which is a Sunday, 2 days from now, Mr. Siddharth Menon, he was principal of Rishi Valley School and also director, secretary. He is still the secretary of the Rajghat Education Center and a trustee of KFI. He will be talking to us on self-knowledge. What is self-knowledge? So you're all welcome to join us at 11 a.m. on 10th of March. And Kamlesh ji, there'll be no recording because he is very particular about it. There'll be no recording. Thank you all. Thank you. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.